our last video, we talked on how to simplify imaginary parts. That's I raised power n. Okay, so we know that I is equals to square root of 1, I squared is equals to minus 1. Okay, and I raised power 3 is equals to minus I raised power 4 is I, and I raised power 5 is I raised power 4 is 1, and I raised power 5 is I. And we also talked on the forms of complex number, which can be Cartesian form, polar form, exponential form. And we also explained how to put complex numbers in the Argand diagram. Now we want to go into the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division of complex numbers. Remember, we are still in the Cartesian format of complex numbers. Now, for this to be done, let us generate questions which can be possible. So we just have, let's have 4 complex numbers: z1, z2, z3, z3, and z4. Now we can go on. Well, we had z1 here to be 2 plus 4i. Okay, z1 is 2 plus 4i. z2 is 4 minus 3i, 4 minus 3i, and z3 is minus 5 plus 2i, minus 5 plus 2i, and we can also have minus 1 minus i. Now, on addition basis, we can have questions coming in. So let's talk on how to add complex number. We can also add subtract complex numbers. So we can do the two together, addition and subtraction of complex numbers. So let's take, for instance, we want to evaluate z1 plus z2. Okay, now z1 plus z2, it will be, remember our z1 is 2 plus 4i. Okay, and our z2 is 4 minus 3i. Okay, now in complex number, it's quite easier just solving polynomials, where we just collect like terms and then we do justice to it. So that's will give us 2 plus 4i. Let's open the bracket here with positive. So we have plus 4 and minus 3i. Now all we just have to do is to take the real parts together, sum them up together. So it will be 2 as the real part, that will give us 2 plus 4, and the imaginary part will be minus 4i, and minus 3i. So solving this, we have 6 minus, this will be plus 4i, sorry, and this will give us 6 plus I. Okay, now we can also have z1 minus z3. Okay, and our z1 is 2 plus 4i, as we have here, and our z3 is minus 5 plus 2i. Okay, now when this is done, we now open the bracket with negative. This will give us 2 plus 4i minus multiplied by minus 5 will give us plus 5, and the minus multiplied by plus 2i will give us minus 2i. Now all we just have to do is to bring the real parts together, bring the imaginary parts together. That will give us 2 plus 5 plus 4i and minus 2i. Okay, now 2 plus 5 give us 7, and plus 4i minus 2i will give us plus 2i. Okay, now there might be a case where we might even have a scalar multiplicator. Let's say we have z2 minus 2z1 plus 4z. Let's take it bit by bit. z2 minus 2z1. Okay, now let's go back to our question. We know that our z2 is 4 minus 3i. Our z2 is 4 minus 3i, and we are subtracting it from 2 into z1, and our z1 is 2 plus 4i. Our z1 is 2 plus 4i. Now, like before, we open the bracket with just a negative sign or a plus sign, but now we open the bracket with a negative 2. Okay, so opening the bracket, we have 4 minus 3i, and minus 2 multiplied by 2 will give us minus 4. Minus 2 multiplied by 4 will give us minus 8i. Okay, so in that case, all we just have to do is to bring the real parts together, bring the imaginary parts together, and then it's equal. So we have 4 minus 4 minus 3i minus 8i. Now 4 minus 4 is 0, and minus 3i minus 8i is minus 11i, and this will give us just minus 11i. Yes, this is a complex number. Now, finally, on multiplication and addition and subtraction, let's say we have z1 minus 2z2 plus z3 plus 4z1. Now, it might look complicated, but when we begin simplification process, it becomes easy. Now, our z1, okay, is 2 plus 4i. Okay, z1 is 2 plus 4i minus 2. Our z2, okay, our z2 is 4 minus 3i. 4 minus 3i. Our z3, okay, our z3 should have here minus 5 plus 2i. Minus 5 plus 2i, and our z4, it should be z4. Okay, our z4 you also have here. Our z4 is minus 1 minus I. Minus 1 minus I. Now, having done this, we open this bracket here with minus 2. We open this bracket here with positive 4. So let's move on. We have 2 plus 4i. Open the brackets here with minus 2. We have it to be minus 2 times 4 gives us minus 8. And minus 2 times minus 3i gives us plus 6i. Opening the bracket here with plus, we have minus 5 plus 2i. And opening the bracket here with positive 4, we have minus 4, because minus 4 times minus 1 will give us minus 4. And minus 4 times minus I will give us minus 4i. Now, when this is done, all we just have to do is to bring the real parts together, bring the imaginary parts also together. So we have the real parts is 2 minus 8 minus 5 minus 4. So that is 2 minus 8 minus 5 minus 4. And the imaginary part is 4i plus 6i plus 2i minus 4i. This is very important not to forget this sign. Okay, so we have plus 4i plus 6i plus 2i and minus 4i. Now, all you have to do is to simplify. So we have 2 minus 8 minus 5 minus 4. So you might use a calculator. So this will give us 2 minus 8 minus 5 minus 4. This will give us minus 15, and plus 4i plus 6, that's 10i, plus 2i, that's 12i, minus 4i will give us 8i, plus 8i. And that would be the answer. So simply addition and subtraction of complex number is simply opening up the brackets, like in the case of BODMAS. Okay, and then we'll collect like terms, bring the real parts together, and also bring the imaginary parts together, and then we simplify further. Now we want to talk on multiplication of complex numbers. Multiplication of complex numbers. Now we might have a question that says z1 multiplied by z2, which we can write as z1 z2. Okay, but in essence we are saying that z1, okay, it is being multiplied by z2. Okay, now what is our z1? What is our z2? Okay, let's go back to the question and get an answer for that. Z1 and z2. Now in the question we have that our z1 is 2 plus 4i and our z2 is 4 minus 3i. So that will give us 2 plus 4i and 4 minus 3i. Now just like normal opening of brackets, okay, so we can go further and multiply the whole of this with 2. So we have 2 into 4 minus 3i plus 4i multiplied by the whole of this 4 minus 3i. And in that case we open up the bracket with 2. 2 multiplied by 4 will give us 8, and 2 multiplied by minus 3i will give us minus 6i. Okay, and 2 more. Now we are done with this. Now let's multiply the bracket with plus 4i. Now 4i multiplied by 4 will give us 16i, because 4 times 4 is 16. So that will give us plus 16i, and 4i multiplied by 3i, okay, multiplied by minus 3i give us minus 12, okay, I squared. 4i multiplied by minus 3i, multiply the real part first, that will give us a minus 12, and multiply I, that will give us I squared. So that will give us minus 12 I squared. Now we can see that we have real parts and we also have imaginary parts. Okay, having that done, we have to simplify this I squared. I squared. Now we go back to our first video where we record that our I is equals to the square root of minus 1. Our I squared is equals to minus 1. Our I cubed is equals to minus I, and our I raised to 4 is equals to 1. Okay, so now what is our I squared here? I squared is minus 1. So we can simplify our I squared back into the equation, substitute it to be 1 minus 1. So that will give us minus 12. And wherever we see I squared, we put minus 1. So this will give us 8 minus 6i plus 16i. Okay, plus 12, because minus 12 multiplied by minus 1 is equals to plus 12. So in essence, we can now bring our real parts together and bring our imaginary parts together. So this will be 8 plus 12, and this will be minus 6i plus 6i plus 16i. So in essence, we are saying that we have 20 plus 10i. Okay, so we have z1 multiplied by z2, z1 multiplied by z2 to give us 20 plus 10i. Now let's try something else. Let's see another question on multiplication. So we have z3 multiplied by z4. Okay. Like we have before, we pick, open a bracket like this. Or what is z3 and what is z4? We go back to the question. Okay. Now we go back to the question and we see that z3 is minus 5 plus 2i minus 5 plus 2i, and our z4 is minus 1 minus I, minus 1 minus I. Now just like normal opening of brackets, so we have minus 5 is going to multiply whole through of minus 1 minus I, and plus 2i will multiply whole through with minus 1 minus I. Now in essence, we open the bracket with minus 5. So minus 5 multiplied by minus 1 will give us positive 5, that's 5. and minus 5 multiplied by minus I give us positive I also. That's positive 5I. And then after done with this, we move into this. So we move into this one here. So we have 2I multiplied by minus I minus 1. That will give us minus 2I, and 2I multiplied by minus I, and that will give us minus 2I squared. Okay, now we recall again that I is equals to square root of minus 1, I squared is equals to minus 1, I cubed is equals to minus I, and I is for 4 is equals to 1. So in essence, we substitute our value for I squared. So this will give us 5 plus 5I minus 2I minus 2 into minus 1. So simplifying further, we have it to be 5 plus 5I minus 2I, and minus 2 multiplied by minus 1 will give us plus 2. Now we bring the real parts together, bring the imaginary parts together. So this will give us 5 plus 2, and this will give us plus 5I minus 2I. And in essence, we have it to be 7 plus 3I. 7 plus 3I. Okay. Now let's pick two more questions. Say we are multiplying Z2 multiplied by Z3. Now, as usual, we have what is Z2 and what is Z3. So we can go back to our question. Z2 is 4 minus 3I, and Z3 is minus 5 plus 2I. 4 minus 3I and minus 5 plus 2I. So having done that, we go through the same process again. So we open the bracket with minus with 4, 2I, and also minus 3I minus 5 plus 2I. Open the bracket with 4 here, we have to be minus 20, and then we have plus 8I. Opening bracket with minus 3 here, we have to be plus 15I. Okay, and this multiplies by this next time, and that will give us minus 6I squared. Okay, now since I squared can be resolved into a simple number, so we have it to be minus 20 plus 8I plus 15I minus 6. I squared is minus 1. So in essence, we have it to be minus 20 plus 8I plus 15I, okay, minus 6 multiplied by minus 1 will give us plus 6. So bring the real parts together and bring the imaginary parts together. So we have it to be minus 20 plus 6 plus 8I plus 15I, and perform the rest of the procedure. We have it to be minus 14, and plus 8I plus 15I will give us plus 23I. So this will be the answer. Finally, let's simplify one last question. Okay, let's say we have Z1 multiplied by Z2 multiplied by Z3. Now there are two ways to solve this. We can divide this. We can say that Z1 multiplied by Z2 multiplied by Z3 is Z1 Z2, okay, multiplied by Z3, or we say it is Z1 multiplied by Z2 multiplied by Z3. Now with this we have generated two questions. So when we can solve this first, and we can solve this again, okay, and then we'll compare the answer. If the answer is the same, good, then our theory is correct. If the answer is different, then that means our theory is wrong. So let's start with Z1 Z2 multiplied by Z3. Okay, now Z1 Z2 and Z3. Now let's go back to our first question. We can see that we've evaluated Z1 Z2. Okay, Z1 Z2 is 20 plus 10I. Z1 Z2 20 plus 10I. So you can write it here 20 plus 10i. And our z3, okay, our z3 is here in the question as 5 plus 2i minus 5 plus 2i minus 5 plus 2i. Now we simplify like we have done before. So opening the bracket, so we have 20 into minus 5 plus 2i plus 10i into minus 5 plus 2i. So 20, opening bracket, it's 20. We have it to be minus 100 and plus 40i, and we have minus 50i, okay, and plus 20i squared. And then we can now substitute our I squared to be minus 1. So this will give us minus 100 plus 40i minus 50i plus 20 into minus 1. This will give us minus 100 plus 40i minus 50i minus 20. Okay, so we bring the real terms together, and also we bring the imaginary parts together. So they give us minus 100 minus 20 plus 40i minus 50i. So in essence, we have minus 120, okay, minus 10i. Okay, now having done z1, z2 multiplied by z3, now we can also go ahead and solve z1 multiplied by z2, z3. Now, first question is what is z1, and the next question is what is z2, z3. Now, our z1 from the question generated is 2 plus 4i, okay, 2, okay, 2 plus 4i, 2 plus 4i, and our z2, z3, which we have evaluated here, z2, z3, z2, z3 is minus 14 plus 23i, minus 14 plus 23i. Okay, so now the next thing is to open the brackets. So we have it to be 2 into minus 14 plus 2, 23i plus 4i into minus 14 plus 23i. Now 2 multiplied by minus 14 is minus 28, and likewise 2 multiplied by 23 is 46. So this will give us 46i, and 4 multiplied by minus 14 will give us minus 16i, minus 56i, and 4i multiplied by 23i will give us 92i squared. Okay, now solving and substituting I squared to be equals to minus 1. So we have minus 28 plus 46i minus 56i and plus 92 into minus 1. It will give us minus 28 plus 46i minus 56i minus 92. Okay, so we have minus 28 minus 92. Now we are separating the real term from the complex term, from the imaginary term, plus 46i minus 56i, and this will give us minus 120 minus 10i. Now we can see that this is z1, z2, z3, okay, and this is z1, z2, z3. Now we can see that these two answers are the same. Okay, so in conclusion, we know that our theory is correct, that z1, z2 can be a product of z1 multiplied by z2 multiplied by z3 or z1 multiplied by z2 z3. And in essence, we can also come up that z1 z2 z3 can be z1 multiplied by z2 z3, which is also equals to z1 z2 multiplied by z3, and it can also be equals to z1 z3 multiplied by z2. Okay, now I want you to try this on your own. Okay, and your final answer should be minus 120 minus 10i. Okay, because z1 z3 z2 here. Okay, we first have to evaluate this through multiplication before you now multiply it with z2. Okay, so in our next video we'll be talking on division of complex number, division of complex numbers.